Welcome, everyone, to the next episode of The Folly of Man. My name is Chris, and with me here today...
Robert! This is a very special series in The Folly of Man. This is The Folly of Man Pray!
Pray.
So those of you who've watched us before have seen us cover several series of Project Horizons and Fallout Equestria and Pink Eyes. Yep, I almost said Pinkie Pie. Still, I don't know why I always want to say Pinkie Pie. Anyways, we've covered those fanfictions, and traditionally, those fanfictions are the combination of A My Little Pony and Fallout, and they come together and they make little noodly pony babies. However, this book, see, I'm imagining like a H.P. Lovecraft type beings, that they're spawned in the gutter of the. Anyways, moving on. This story was written by Kkat, who also wrote Fallout Equestria.
If you haven't heard of it.
She is kind of the overmare of the Fallout Equestria,
Cinematic universe.
Would you call her like the Pope? Or is she, she's the goddess. That's what she is. She's the goddess. I have to always frame things here.
Oh, no.
So, but in regards to
the great and powerful Kkat.
Pray, and there's nothing before it. It's just Pray, right?
Yep.
It's the combination of My Little Pony and Pray. And an interesting point, this week we are covering chapters 9 and 10. And I have to apologize. I am popping every single P, and you can see that we have these wind socks. So maybe we need to move to the old-fashioned, round ones.
Or we just switch over to 1920s gramophones.
Ooh, I like that.
Well, we're coming to you live from St. Louis.
So instead of receiving a downloaded MP3, we will actually mail you a wax cylinder that you can play on your gramophone.
No refunds.
Yeah, no refunds. And we're not going to ship them special. No fragile shipping at all. If it's cracked when it arrives, tough shit. Or if it gets too hot and melts.
Oh, well, I mean, it is actually free. It's just, the shipping and handling costs $39.99 per gram.
So... that's
once packed.
That's a bit expensive. So in this series we are covering Kkat's Pray. Let's just call it Kkat's Pray because I'm used to putting something before it, but it's not the Folly of Man's Pray. That's our show, but it's Kkat's
it's not
Pray.
Fallout Equestria Pray.
Anyways, this story I've spent too many times circling the drain trying to get to it is the combination of My Little Pony and the video game Pray, the modern one, the one that came out 3 years ago. So,
I think it's actually 2016.
Yeah, we never get it right. It's always further back than we than we think. Also, happy 10th anniversary, Fallout Equestria. You want to feel old? I mean, it doesn't make me feel old because I didn't read it when it came out. But yeah, isn't it also the 10th anniversary of Skyrim?
Yes, November 11th of this year.
Yeah, cool beans. So. A quick recap for those of you who might not be along up to this point. The link for this story is in the description below. Please pause if you have not read it. If you have not read chapters 9 and 10. If you're into this sort of shit, if you're not into this shit, go watch our Oreo videos or our MRE videos or our Miata videos or whatever. Go check stuff out.
Yeah. We got tons of clickbait crap.
Meow. It's mostly me making the clickbait crap.
I'm terrible at it.
It's cool. I think you're great at it, actually. It's just a matter of,
Well, you removed the videos because apparently there were too many cadavers in them.
Moving on. So, where was I going? Anyways, chapters 9 and 10. Yes, in the link below, you can always go read the stories there. You can also find many other great stories there. But this is your last warning that if you have not read chapters 9 and 10 in Pray, we're going to get into it. So first and foremost, I kind of want to get into this. This is a thought that's kind of been clawing at the back of my head. But we've read a lot of My Little Pony fanfiction. What?
E-girl?
What?
A thought?
No, not that kind of thought. I called my wife today a thought, and she said, "How dare you?" And I said, "That honey over there." And she said, "Well, that's better." But that honey's a hoe. I always do like to tell her, I said, "Honey, if you ever worry about, am I pretty? Am I valued? Am I having a good day?" I said, "Just remember what that booty do in a sundress." So, it makes me feel better. I like to think about what my booty does in a sundress. But you'll have to catch that on the Folly of Man OnlyFans.
After hours.
Yeah. Although our OnlyFans typically is just Chris will send you pictures of his butthole until you pay him to stop. And do not buy the bathwater.
It's not my bathwater. It's just bathwater.
I mean, if you like Giardia, it's great for that.
No, we have this fantastic enterprise where we outsource it to somewhere in Malaysia.
Oh my god. Moving on. I think we need to refocus with a little bit of caffeine here. Remember, kids, you want to blow on the cup to make people think it's actually coffee in it.
You know how to drink coffee, don't you?
How do you drink coffee?
You put your lips together and blow.
I'm not going to try that. There's a lot of expensive electronics underneath us. Well, who am I kidding? It's not that expensive. Y'all know what kind of shoestring budget this show is on.
Which is expensive for us.
Which is as good a time as any to mention our Patreon, because we are whores. I know. So I've noticed in reading this fan fiction, and you correct me if I'm wrong, this series feels way more like a My Little Pony story.
Absolutely.
Than Fallout Equestria.
Yes.
And, okay, so you're in agreement. I didn't think that there'd be much disagreement. But whereas Fallout Equestria is very much like, oh, it's a Fallout world that My Little Pony creatures just happen to inhabit.
It's like if you took the world of My Little Pony and then put it in the context and juxtaposition of Fallout.
Thus far, there is nothing in this story other than the kind of sexual elements that pop up every now and then, like lusting after someone, which is still not super as big as it was in Fallout Equestria, I want to clarify. If you ignore that, this could totally be, from what you've described, a My Little Pony story. There's nothing about this. It seems canonically correct in a lot of ways. The characters seem very true to how they've been described on the show. Nightmare Moon's castle, there's like lore fleshed out behind it. I mean, a lot of this sounds like stuff that Kkat has added to the canon of My Little Pony.
Well, there's been a lot more that's developed in the show since then, because season 2 had not completed by the time Fallout Equestria had been finished.
Right.
And
which is
Prey
wild.
was made...
That is wild to me. My Little Pony as a show, as it coming back as a show, hadn't even completed its second season, and there was already this like enormous, gigantic, foundational fan fiction.
Yes, because the first 2 seasons of My Little Pony are fantastic.
Just wild.
Yeah.
Right? And to think that this was
I don't take it back either.
That all this was being fleshed out and written as it happened. It just speaks to the intense energy and fervor that people have for this material. I think it's one of the things that, so like, I always try and put this in perspective of somebody who's not a brony, right? That's the crux of the show. You're a brony, I'm not a brony. And before this, I always knew that you loved this stuff, right? I'd buy you like Rainbow Dash stuff, and you'd talk about cons, and you talk about the show, but there wasn't the element of the fan fiction yet.
Yeah.
And the fervor with which people write this stuff, it just goes to show you that it's not a passing fancy. It really is to the level of fanaticism.
Well, it is. We brought it up on the show before. Most other fandoms of any kind they latch onto a site, and they use that site as their home base, where you have I don't remember what it is, and there was Doctor Who and Sherlock. Supernatural?
Oh, yeah, that just finished.
Yeah, Supernatural and Doctor Who and Sherlock, and they were all on Tumblr. It was a Tumblr crowd. Tumblr was the site to go to if you went for that. If you wanted Harry Potter, you would go to...
If it's weird and it's inclusive, Tumblr was all about it.
Well, I mean, it was that. If you wanted Harry Potter stuff, you would go to Wattpad.
Funny note. I want to get back on this. Tumblr, that crowd. But I have to have a little bit of a tangent.
We've been knowing nothing but tangents. I don't think we said anything about the chapters yet.
Doctor Who, right?
Yes.
And everybody loves Doctor Who. Don't get me wrong. I loved, past tense, Doctor Who.
Oh, yeah.
And loved David Tennant. But for all the love that people had for the Doctor and David Tennant, he was super uncool with Jack always hitting on him.
Yeah.
Like almost to the level of being a little homophobic.
Yeah.
Now, if you know the Doctor, you know that he has a thing for leggy blondes. Like it's always been, he likes young women as his companions, right? His sexuality was always pretty firmly set. But yeah, he had a problem with Jack.
Yeah, it was also, I think, the fact that Jack was also a gun-toting American.
He was, sort of, kind of. His character was kind of like a psychotic chameleon.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, he was one of the people.
Fun. One of my favorite characters.
Catch Me If You Can? Is that the movie I'm thinking of, where it's the guy who's
Leonardo DiCaprio,
who's constantly changing roles and act? Yeah,
of course. You know. Anyways, back to the Tumblr crowd and the fanaticism for.
So you had the Harry Potter crowd, and they attached themselves to something. You have Sonic that attached themselves to DeviantArt and still continue to.
The Sonic is just autism. Like that is. I'm sorry. I love Sonic the Hedgehog.
It is a little upsetting. It is all upsetting.
In my 30 years, I have had more than one Sonic the Hedgehog birthday cake. No joke.
But
right?
yours are based on the game and not the extended fan-driven universe.
No, do not. I mean, if you do not Google Robert the Hedgehog.
If you want some fun, Google your name, the Hedgehog, and just be prepared to be disappointed in humanity as a whole.
The top 6 results. You won't believe the top 6 results. Doctors hate it when you Google search your name for Sonic the Hedgehog. Sorry, I'm trying to be clickbaity. Remember, we got to keep working all these clickbait words into our episodes. So,
Point being, the My Little Pony, a lot of people who were, a lot of bronies, a lot of people who were in MLP, the fandom, they got ostracized by a lot of different communities because it exploded very, very rapidly. So it destroyed everything.
Would you say that it was a stampede?
It was a stampede. There were a lot of people joining the herd. So they started making their own site. So you, instead of Wattpad or fanfiction.net or anything, you had Femfic, you had the Equestria Daily, you had...
What does FEM stand for, by the way?
Friendship is Magic.
Get out of town! I could never figure it out. It just goes to show you that I'm not a Brony.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that that lets me know that I'm still pure. Untainted.
Yeah, I love how you say you're untainted, you're pure, we're all, like, disgusting, but you try to convince us you're not a Puritan.
This body is clean.
That you're also, you know, that you were just, you're not a prude.
Listen. I know how to lay pipe. I have 2 children that prove that. And I'm not a prude. But I'm not going to get into that. Are you going to kink shame me? Is that what you're going to do? Is that what's about to happen on this show? You're going to have a little struggle session? A little Maoist struggle session to kink shame me?
Well, speaking of which, it's better than a struggle snuggle.
That is called rape. That is rape.
Anyway.
Struggles. Hashtag struggle snuggle. That's going to be the name of this episode.
Please no.
Ktat's like, could you please talk about my story? Please.
Anyway, so let's actually get on chapter. We start off with
Ocellus, Gallus, and Smolder.
Give him the smolder.
From a little. Yeah. From here on out, when you say smolder, you've got to say smolder. It's like Mark Cooper Jones when he says orogeny.
Well, it's from Tangled. I mean, they do that in Tangled where he says, "Okay, here comes the smolder."
Oh, okay. Yeah, more.
I'm sorry, this has never happened to me before.
More Disney bullshit that I have not and will not watch.
Tangled's actually all right.
Of course it is. Of course it is. It starts with My Little Pony. It ends with Tangled. And then you're snuggling a pushing cat in the gutter, sucking your own thumb, wondering where all the money went.
The chapter begins.
A little too close to him.
The chapter begins.
So we're going after these anti-elements, these elements of vice. They're pretty bad. And we've already collected, 2 of them? We have 2 of them. And what we're looking for next is the element of pride. Well, sort of. We think that's where it's going to be. But Ocellus is like, yo, guys, nice to see ya. Deuces, because I've got to go into Queen Elytra's hive, and I've got to turn into this, scary love-starved changeling, and I'm going to do it. And they're like, no, don't go. We love you. We'll miss you. And Smolder's like, I love you. I'll miss you. I love you. Basically, right? Right? Have I captured the mood there?
Effectively, yes.
And Ocellus is like, no, I have to be the one because y'all can't pretend to be some love-starved, love-crazed, drone. Husk. Yes, a husk. Literally burnt ember, a piece of coal, black as the night. And so that's what... But then Ocellus is like, so I'm just going to take my bag of elements with me and go get this element. I'm like, what are you talking about?
No. We're going to be smart about this. We're not going to be dumb. Give us the elements, and you go grab that one.
Yeah, we'll fabricate another one of those magic bags because, we'll just use one of those stations. We've collected enough orbs to make the next thing.
Well, I mean, they just don't have DRM on them.
That's right. So,
which was actually a thing in the original Prey.
They make another bag, and Ocellus goes off on her own and turns into a love-starved drone. And she's like, ugh, I hate this. Ugh, it's so unfashionable. Ugh. And I remember all those bad memories of Queen Chrysalis and how bad Chrysalis was. But Elytra's not any better. And basically what we're discovering as she's going in, she's trying to figure out how the drones are feeding.
Yeah.
What is feeding them? There's nothing here on the moon.
They have to feed off of love.
And there's no love in this place.
Mm-hmm.
It's empty.
Not unlike my house growing up.
Oh. New.
Oh, come on.
New. And now we know why you drink. 'Cause suicide is painless.
It brings on many changes.
I don't like the hip. Y'all don't see this, but I didn't like the hip motions there. There was kind of like a Elvis Presley thing going on there. You're like, I feel like Ed Sullivan. I feel like
live if I please.
I feel like Ed Sullivan, like where you can only shoot them up from the hips, show it below, and people will go crazy. And people already were going crazy.
Yeah.
They're like, man, this guy's crazy. I want to become a communist and destroy this country.
Yeah.
Slippery slope. Actually, that would so piss off Elvis Presley because there's one thing in this world he hated more than anything, and that was fucking commies.
I thought what he hated most was going without eating.
My favorite story about Elvis Presley, and there's many because in my heart of hearts, he is numero uno on the singer list, right?
To interrupt you real quick. So my grandmother is a woman of the time period for when that would be. And we were trying to convince her, you actually love Elvis. And my sister knew.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I didn't listen to a lot of Elvis. And of course, my grandfather's like rolling his eyes into the back of his skull over.
Yeah, your grandfather's over there like imagining Waylon Jennings and,
and the Carter family.
And the Carter family.
Yeah. And so my sister pulls up Love Me Tender.
Yeah.
And starts playing, and she just goes,
like a fool.
Oh, Elvis.
Yeah, goddamn right. Treat me mean and cruel.
She just starts slowly swinging back and forth. And
oh, that's so great. She was able to fall back into that moment of her girlish love for Elvis. Anyways, why was I talking about Elvis? Oh, Elvis Presley got a Colt revolver, gilded it in gold, had it personally engraved, and hand-delivered it to President Richard Nixon in the Oval. Not only did he have a gun that he was giving the president, he had his own gun on his hip in the Oval Office.
Yeah.
And Richard Nixon, no, not Mirandized, was it warranting? What are you talking about? Like deputized. He deputized Elvis as like some like anti-communist cultural, ambassador officer or whatever. And it was just,
well, it was very heavily cultural at the time. So.
I want to head over there and take care of that Mao for you. I don't mind. I'm going to send over there and just give him a little this, give him a little.
Well, still some years before 1989, and now we can no longer be shown in China.
God, rest in peace. Rest in peace.
Nothing happened.
Tiananmen Square.
No one was there. We were invited. There was cake served.
Yeah. Xi Jinping is Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Yep. There. Now we're not in China. Thanks, Chris. 1.4 billion people. Oh, by the way, there is a theory. I mean, we're all over the place today. I'm all over the place today. There is...
Coffee may have been a mistake.
There is a conspiracy theory that there aren't actually 1.4 billion people in China, that China wants to convince India that there's more Chinese than Indians, and that they've been fudging their numbers for years, that based on the food that they make and the food that they import, that there's only about 500 million people in China.
Okay, let's be honest for a second here. China lying about numbers to other nations?
Nah.
Never happens.
Never happens.
Never happens.
But enough about the yen.
Or their test scores.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Actually, am I wrong on that? Is it Chinese yen or is it Chinese yuan? I think it's the yuan. The Japanese yen. Whatever.
Doesn't matter. Japan number 1. Taiwan number 1. Yeah. Vietnam number 1. Hong Kong number 1. Beijing number last.
So Ocellus is going deep into the hive. And she has a map of the castle, and it's clear that the map doesn't fucking mean anything because the hive is this like self, breathing, changing, moving, flowing. It's like a woman. It changes all the time. Always the masks coming off, always in different moods and different places, through the phases of their lives. The castle is a perfect allegory for a woman. You'll understand one day once you've been with a woman. It's not fair. I'm pretty sure you've actually been with more women than me. I'm 100% positive of that, in fact. I've had sex. So she's in the hive, right? She's in the hive. And she's so afraid that she's going to be found out. And she's also afraid that if she feels any sense of the love that her friends have for her, that she'll be outed instantly. And this is an allegory for being a homosexual, right? You're always afraid that your in-group, your tribe is going to out you. That actually
is an interesting connection that I wouldn't have made that actually is valid, if not intentional.
That's why you have me here. And she's also gay in the story, but it's more accepted in the My Little Pony universe.
Yeah.
One of the things that she questions about herself is that, who am I? As she's peeling the masks off. Who am I really? My whole personality is based on pleasing someone. And that idea of being what someone else wants me to be is not being myself. It's being what they want me to be. And that's what being a changeling is. A changeling is just someone who pretends to be the thing that you love so that they can consume your love. How is she not any different than when she was in the hive to begin with?
What is she different than just a parasite?
Yeah.
When you describe the changelings as parasites, what is she if she is not that? If she is not still that?
Yeah.
Even if she gives up the love, she's still taking love.
She is still taking love. And you got to give love to take love.
But the problem is that the way she gives love to others is not a one-to-one connection, because she's feeding off of it. They're not.
Yeah.
So she also has to ask herself, is the only reason I'm with my friends because they love me?
Ooh. I ask myself that question all the time. And then I know that you hate me. And that's good
I hate
enough.
everyone, though, so I mean...
Yeah, that's right. You're not prejudiced. You hate everyone equally.
I mean, if it's all turned up to 11.
Our relationship is completely based off of tolerance and a love-hate relationship. I love you and you hate me. And it works. Mm-hmm. It works. Right?
Yin and yang.
We are just, codependent enough. That we function as what should be a friendship.
Continue.
Oh, continue. Okay. Everything all right?
Yes.
Just the same level of professionalism that people have come to expect from the Foley of Man.
I was trying to get you to continue so that there wasn't as much of a break, but okay.
It's, I can't. It's the horse in the room,
That one?
The big ugly horse in the room.
It's not very nice. He's right there.
So, along with his friend Harvey the rabbit, Ocellus is very concerned. But she's also pleased that the drones can't seem to differentiate her from everyone else. She's even, they're mimicking her, making fun of her, and she thinks that she's been outed, but no, they're just dumb. They're literally making fun of her. She just blends in perfectly. But as I said before, she can't think of the love that she's experienced because the drones will know what that tastes like. But she keeps opening her receptors and keeps trying to, find her way through the hive. In fact, she talks about... the way you used to navigate the hive was using your receptors, and something about her palate has atrophied because she hasn't used it. She hasn't needed it. She's not in the hive. All of the pheromones that allowed you to kind of get around
very insectoid
are not there, right? But she's suddenly realizes when she does get a taste, she understands how these drones are being fed, and they're being fed by the love of their queen. But it's not real love. It's the love of command and control. I love that you serve me.
The toxic mother.
Right. The toxic mother, right? It's
Is that Freudian?
It's I don't know. It's that. Oh, God. Don't.
Okay.
Don't
mother
say,
psychology, the first thing that's going to happen is Freud.
I know. But I thought for sure you were going to go into Jung, and then you'd mention the cave again, and would,
Jung's not the cave. That's Plato.
I know it's Plato, but it comes up. There's a couple things you touch on regularly, other than your penis. So,
right now.
Oh God, that is not what we need to add to the show. That is not the flavor that is missing. Remember, Robert, sex sells. Sex sells what? So Ocellus, realizing this, is like, oh, the drones are being fed by the queen, but what is the queen feeding on? The queen still needs something, and the affection of her drones doesn't mean anything. She needs something beyond it. And that's how she puts it together. She's like, she must be symbiotically feeding off of the power of pride as an anti-element. And that these anti-elements are quite powerful. She's also realizing in all of this that Queen Elytra is not nearly as methodical as Queen Chrysalis is.
Yes.
Queen Chrysalis waited forever to bring her plans. At least this is what they're saying in the story. Right?
Yes.
to bring her plans for the fruit to bloom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Elytra saw an opportunity, took an opportunity, and didn't get the people she wanted. She just saw an opportunity to ensnare everyone. Because why would she want to bring a changeling in? A changeling in could foil her plans.
Absolutely. Because the changelings can sense other changelings.
And maybe Luna knew this was a potential case because bringing Ocellus along, who knows? I don't know. I'm really not going to try and speculate much about the story. It doesn't.
Yeah, we're still way too up in the air to be able to say anything ground.
We're still way, but there is something interesting. I'm going to hop ahead a little bit. We do come across Queen Elytra, and something that Queen Elytra says is very interesting is that I didn't want to be here. I was cast here by my mother. Right? It's like, so something put here on the moon. Funny how royalty putting things on the moon that they don't want to deal with. What does that sound like? Oh, that's a little bit familiar. It also would make sense that kind of energy would feed off of like Luna's like,
rage,
emo rage, sitting up on the moon, just like, oh, fucking build my moon palace, and I'm gonna, do my fuck my sister. I hate her.
No, I'm not gonna do it again.
Did she create lunar consorts?
I would imagine so. That she had explained that she had friends, and it's kind of shown in the show that Celestia had
shadowy bone zone.
Celestia took on consorts, which again isn't surprising.
Yeah. So, Ocellus is doing her thing, and she's like, "All right, I'm in the main chamber. All right, this is not good. The queen's probably around here somewhere. I got to be careful. None of the other drones are looking for me." And she sees a very familiar silhouette in one of these like pods, the pods of the changelings, and she realizes it's Yona, because of course it's Yona. It's got to be Yona. Like we know we're gonna come across another friend, right? It has to happen. But when she taps on the pod, Yona opens her eyes and immediately turns into a changeling, and it's like, ah, crap! The trap has been sprung. I've been trapped. Oh no! And Queen Elytra is like, ha 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 ha, bitch! I knew you'd come here, you dumb fuck.
I would totally love Queen Elytra to be a surly drunk.
Yeah, hey, you dumb fuck! You thought you were something, you're not. Get over here and I'll kick your fucking ass, something like that. But anyways, turns out Yona, though, actually is there. And she starts speaking dumb, because that's what fucking yaks do. And she's like,
they're of a
bug friend, don't.
They're of a lesser breed.
Oh no. Oh, we're gonna get into that. Don't you worry.
Oh no.
So, it's been bugging me. Gotta get my hair out of my face. So, Yona starts bashing her pod, and the pod's made out of this hardened resin. And so Queen Elytra, who suddenly was like, haha, my little bug, you're in the spider's web, I'm going to eat you, that kind of thing with Chrysalis. Though as I understand the queen looks a lot like basically a changeling princess.
Yes.
Like a goddess.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Because it described like a horn and described like a pony-esque figure. Like when I first hear queen, I think of like a giant spider creature, but it sounds like she's just like a big changeling.
Well, yes, she is a big changeling that's in the kind of aesthetic that Luna and Celestia are in the show. Because let's be honest here, I don't think having the alien queen show up on a children's show would be a very good idea.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good thing there aren't xenomorphs in this world, because they just like wreck this shit, right?
They would wreck this shit.
Oh, God. That's the next crossover Kkat should write. The H.R. Geiger My Little Pony.
No!
And in this story...
Scorn win.
In this story, Rainbow Dash is a penis monster. But let's face it, Rainbow Dash kind of already is a penis monster. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right? Or am I right? I'm not. I'm moving on. So Queen Elytra is starting to monologue, and they kind of catch her monologuing.
You rascal, you got me monologuing.
It's like Tamatoa from Moana. It's like, wait, you're just trying to trick me into talking about myself.
So Moana stole the joke from The Incredibles. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I mean, both are sort of Disney licenses. Incredibles was still independent before they got absorbed.
No, it's Pixar, so yeah.
Disney doesn't make anything; they just buy shit.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyways, Yona is screaming some really racist shit, but also kind of like, no hurt, bug friend.
Yeah.
Bug people, bug friend, bug this, bug that. And
I not prejudice. I have bug friend.
That's kind of what I wanted to get to, but we'll get there.
It's okay, Ocellus. You're one of the good ones.
Basically, like Yona's language in this chapter is very much like, I can't be prejudiced. Some of my best friends are bug people. What do you mean, bug people? What up, my bugger? Hey, man, how's my buggy?
No, he dropped the B word.
How's my buggy? Anyways, Yona bursts out of the pod, and the queen's like, oh, shit, this is one pissed off yak. And she's like, yak strong, yak proud. Yak power!
Yak pride!
God.
The yak shall rise again.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Anyways, so Yona apparently has the element of pride.
Yes.
As we are exhibiting here. And it is giving her like chimpanzee strength. And she is like fucking shit up. The changelings, 5 changelings, spear into her, trying to hurt her and stop her. And they literally all bounce off and are like dazed as they've like cracked their skulls.
This is actually similar to, I feel like we had mentioned this before about the nature of the anti-elements, the elements of ice, is that they are similar to the One Ring in that they have their own kind of desires. And so they can impel others and give them better advantages.
So right, and they will betray, right? So clearly the element of pride, the anti-element of pride that was feeding Queen Elytra, betrayed Queen Elytra to give strength to this creature.
Yep.
Because it better meshed with this. And so that's the other thing, like the elements of harmony, how they find their person, right? The anti-elements find someone who can perfectly latch onto them and gives them strength. So what I've learned from this chapter is that racism gives you superhero powers.
Oh, no.
That's what Kkat's saying here.
I don't think that's how
exactly. In fact,
I
this
believe
whole
it is a
story. This whole story is about why you should be more racist because it's just going to make you stronger, and you'll be able to protect and defend your friends.
You actually have a good point, but not in the way that you think. So this kind of extremist personality, the cult of personality that's associated with any kind of extremist view, it will grant you followers, right?
Yeah.
It'll give you a great amount of power, but at the same time, it also leeches off of you and tears you apart from at the same time, which is what's explained about the elements. Is the elements inevitably want to destroy the person, or pony, or thing, So I mean, you kind of are right. It does give you powers, but it also destroys you simultaneously. Yeah.
So anyways, Yona is like really wrecking shit up, and Queen Elytra is like, well, I'm going to stop this. Ocellus, in fact, tries to turn into a cockatrice to stun the queen, and the queen literally shoots resin at her eyes, and she's like, I can't see. And it's like, yeah, why didn't you think, like, the queen has full power of this resin. Like, she knows what a cockatrice is, and she's not going to let you turn her to stone.
That was how we learned that the element of pride is now siphoning power away from Elytra because the resin...
Yona is able to control the resin, which is something only the queen can do. So again, there's this, Queen Elytra is drawing power from the element of pride, but that power is also being drawn from her and being given to Yona. So in a way, we see a lot of people taking on the powers of being a queen. So like we've already seen Ocellus do this. Sorry, not Ocellus. Oops, she wouldn't like that. We've already seen Ocellus do this. And now Yona is bringing in the powers of the queen. And she's just a big fucking yak is what she is. I mean, she's just destroying shit.
She is the Crushinator, effectively.
But Paul, I love him. Ocellus realizes what they need to do is they need to take the element and they need to get the fuck out of there, right?
Yep.
And so she says, but Yona's so prideful. She's like, I have to convince her. So it's like, the smart things that a good, proud, smart yak would do is to get out of here and take the element away and go find our friends.
You want to win against them. They want to keep us here. So we win by leaving.
Yeah, we have to leave. And it's like, yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to fucking, and anyway, so they get away. And we see some cool stuff. Ocellus in all of this skirmishing had collected more of those, those teardrop bobules filled with all the transformative stuff, and she's like, oh, we'll just repurpose these, and or Smolder can turn them into gems. somehow.
By way of the, because they're made out of the dark element.
I gotcha.
And so they can be used and repurposed in the recyclers to turn into various things.
Of course. And that's an element from the game, right? And but also she finds one of those resin shooters, and we see a mechanic from the game come through in the story where she literally shoots like steps for Yona to run up. She even turns into a dragon, Ocellus version dragon, for her to kind of crawl up her back to get to the next level. But anyway, so they get out, and then she realizes that, while Yona's being super racist about the bug people and destroying the bug people and smashing them and basically referring to all bug people as leeches that need to be smashed, and Ocellus is like, oh, but I'm a bug people. How dare you say that about bug people? And it's like, come on. This is just, it's the anti-element talking, or maybe it's just revealing how she really feels. Yeah, Yona, is that how you, why do you have a stars and bars flag in your bedroom, Yona? That's a little racist. Come on, some of my best friends are changelings, okay? Yeah. It's cool. It's fine.
I can say that.
I can't be, right? I just keep this person. They're my person, right? Slippery slope. It's really a critique on white people if you think about it from Kkat's perspective. To have the dumb, mushed-mouth person who can't speak right being super racist.
They're actually, being that they're from Yakistan.
Oh, yeah. Anyways, moving on. So to get the element away from Yona, she has to convince Yona, who's being super prideful in the moment, that she doesn't need the element. And so she says, yeah, you're so great and powerful now that you have that stone. And she's like, well, what do you mean? And it's like, well, I mean, you were great before, but now you're like perfect because you've got that stone, and that stone makes you like awesome.
I don't need the stone to be perfect.
Yep. But instead of getting Yona to drop it in her bag, she knows she has to take it from her because Yona pulls it out from her matted fur. And it doesn't say matted in the book, but I added that. Anyways, and is like presenting it to her like, here, take it.
Yeah.
Don't tempt me further.
Fool of a toque.
Yeah, I know. So, Ocellus, seeing the element, knows that she has to touch it even for a moment. And in that moment, before she drops it in the bag, she realizes,
we were awesome.
I'm awesome. I'm awesome.
I did great.
She felt like Rainbow Dash for a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just awesome all the time.
Awesome all the time.
Rainbow Dash, I know Mr. Minotaur was a motivational speaker, but really Rainbow Dash should have been the motivational speaker. I know she's not good at speaking, but like she's just brimming with self-confidence, right?
Well, it's an aura of self-confidence hiding and protecting an underlying softness that is afraid of failure.
Isn't that all confidence? That's where mine comes from.
Overconfidence. That's all overconfidence, yes. And that is something that I feel like they probably dropped after this.
Some confidence just stems from having a big dick. So, some people have reason to be confident. Chris is thinking, well, then why am I not confident? So basically, that's the chapter. In this moment, she is able to drop the anti-element in the bag,
and they're also back to the clock.
Yeah, there was an element of a faceless clock, tink tunk, but there's no ticking, right? And it's just all more of this. We're just peeling back the layers of this onion of like, who am I? What am I? Am I anything? Is my personality all built upon the pleasure of others? And it's like, well, you're a changeling, so yeah, kinda.
What is a clock in this place?
What do you mean?
Well, think about where they are, what they're doing. I mean, the moon is tidally locked, and it's conceptually it has a multiple layer clock based on when the sun is available.
Yeah,
because it also has to take into account the full eclipse not full eclipse that usually happens, but the eclipse that will most likely occur at that location on the moon.
Yeah.
So, what is a clock in that scenario?
Yeah. I don't know. I can't tell you. You've already read the story, so you're either asking a question that is prefacing something later, or you're just asking a question that
I don't think it does, but I mean...
Yeah. Maybe it's just a familiarity of home. Maybe it's she needed some way to know how many fucking days she'd been on there so that she could tell her sister, you put me up there for 365,000 days. However many,
No, that would be 1,000 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. So that was chapters 9 and 10 of Prey, Kkat's Prey.
Yes.
So this is generally the time in the show when I'm not going to mention it. Don't worry. There's a trigger word. And you all know it. This is like Pee-wee's Playhouse. What's the secret word? But we don't do that in this show. You may be familiar with it. That's on our main series. And MANE series, I should say.
Of course.
If you like what you see here, I would encourage you to check out our sister series going on right now of Folly of Man, Fall at Equestria, Project Horizons. We have a lot of fun. It's the same kind of fun here, just a different story. And
is there a name for sister and brother when it comes to horses?
I don't think so. I mean, probably. There's esoteric terms for everything.
Yeah, I know. Horses are still measured in hands, so obviously there's going to be something.
Yeah, people complain about, American standard when it comes to measurements, like the empirical standard, right? But that's nothing compared to measuring things with your hands. Come on.
Yeah, because that's how they used to do it, and that's how they still do it for horses.
Yeah. But you don't actually have a hand. Now it's just like whatever.
Well, because it was the king's hand.
It's always the king's whatever, which is dumb because the king changed.
Yeah.
Sometimes the king was a queen.
This is the reason they realized it didn't work.
Herbert Hoover is a perfect example of a king who was actually a queen. Edgar Hoover? Herbert Hoover? Edgar Hoover. Whoever the FBI guy was. It doesn't matter. Whatever. He liked to wear dresses. So, I would like to say thank you for all of you who support the show. Now, a better show would actually have a list in front of them so that we could reference all the people that support the show and support us on Patreon. If you like what we do, if you'd like to help us improve and grow and, pay for what it takes to run this show, please consider supporting us on Patreon. That's it. But since we are not well prepared, I will point here over my shoulder and know that the names of the people who support me will be right here. Oh, there they go. That was a little quick. Maybe I should bring it back.
Yeah, roll it back down.
Oh, win again. Oh, that was faster. You know what? I'm better in person than I am in post. We'll figure it out.
The hell's post? Keep flailing.
But to wherever those people were, where they wind up, wherever you are now, thank you.
Near, far,
wherever you is.
We won't forget your ass.
That's the truth. That's the truth. So if you like what we do here, check us out on our Discord. Also, if you're watching us on YouTube, go and download the audio podcast. One, it helps us, and two, it's a great way to listen to the show if you don't have the time to sit down and watch the show. It also loads easier since you can download that and not have to deal with YouTube Mobile, because fuck them. God, YouTube Music is a cancer.
It really is.
Google Music was great. I had my entire music database up there, everything I owned, my discography, everything was up there. And now YouTube Music is like, well, I know you gave me your music and you already paid for like a couple $100 worth of music on my service, but I'm going to put an ad in front of everything you want to do, and I'm not going to let you watch your own thing because I'm going to keep trying to play my radio stations of your same music that you already have and make it impossible for you to find the music that you fucking own.
Yep.
So fuck YouTube. Join us on Discord. That's a great place for us to hang out. I'd love to grow with YouTube. AdSense would probably help, pay for some stuff, but
that's if we get to a point where we could use it before YouTube just completely collapses in on itself, hopefully.
Yeah. Which is why I say go download the audio podcast. I want to be more positive. I feel like I'm being very negative. Let's be positive for a moment.
If you guys also want to see us on other video platforms, just tell us.
Yeah, sure. I'd be open to that. It's just another place I'll have to upload things.
Yeah.
Because Chris won't do it.
I don't have the file.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Or the enthusiasm. You can also email us at cbpbch@gmail.com. One more time, cbpbch@gmail.com. Hardly anybody ever does that, but I think people should know that they can find us there. You will not find us on social media, at least not as the show. I think we have a Twitter. We have never really used it, so don't bother. Just join us on the Discord. So, Chris, as we come to the end here, are there any concepts that we've missed? Are there any stories that you want to tell? Are there any?
There is an interesting concept that was in the chapter that I feel like we lost over.
Okay.
She wasn't going to capture them using nightmares or torture them.
Oh, yes, of course. Queen Elytra. I'm glad you mentioned that. Queen Elytra's whole plan is to go to Earth and to give everybody what they want.
Every desire.
Every desire, everything they could ever dream of. And you know what's so funny? There's a movie that came out in the last year that is actually this plot exactly.
Really?
Oh, yeah. The new Wonder Woman movie.
Oh.
The new Wonder Woman movie, because everybody steals from Kkat, and I've got your back, girl. I got your back. I'm going to go to bat, right? Yeah. Go on. fuck them up, right? But the whole crux of that story is they find a godly relic that when you speak to it, it gives you what you want. It gives you exactly what you want. And imagine doing that.
But at a cost.
Not really. The cost is that if everybody does it, everybody's dreams come true.
It was supposed to be Monkey's Paw because it's like, oh, I've become super powerful, but now it's gone to my head, and I can now have the person I want, but I've lost all my powers.
Speaking of which, I'll say it was a garbage movie, right? And so it makes sense that they would steal an idea from somewhere else.
Yep.
But the concept, as you stated, of the Monkey's Paw goes back millennia, right? But it is a good point. Her plan to go is not to conquer in destruction and not to replace or destroy. It's no, I'm going to give them what they want, and my children will grow and feed, and my influence will be so great that I'll kill my fucking mother. I have a feeling she didn't say that specifically, but I have a feeling that that's part of the plan.
Yeah,
like that bitch who put me here.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems it seems kind of in the nature of these queen changelings that they're like, I am from you, but I'm not you, and I'm going to be better than you.
Well, remember, where you find one, you will surely find an apprentice.
Oh, great! So changeling queens are the Sith.
It's an allegory.
I am the Hive.
George Lucas was a hack in many ways, but some of the things he did kind of was transcendent, and that was the Sith as an allegory for a power struggle, of an internal power struggle, is just timeless.
It is indeed. So that's a good point. It's a good point. She wanted to give everybody what they wanted, and Ocellus is like, oh, well, that's different. Like, she just doesn't understand anything about the motivations of this queen. She thinks she knows everything about changelings. She doesn't know shit about changelings. At least not these changelings. So, yeah, we learned a lot.
Yep.
Well, it is that time.
It is that time.
We must hit that dusty trail. Settle up for another cup of coffee and glass of wine and tell y'all to go home and
get out.
It's time to go. It's been fun, but you got to go home. You can't stay here. So, for Chris, I'm Robert. This has been the Folly of Man Pray. And let me say from the bottom of my heart, we'll see y'all next time. Thank you, Kkat. Bye.
It's all over, but the cry.
So long, farewell, Wiedersehen, adieu, 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 to you and you and you.
You know what the actual content of what that movie was about? That's it.
Adieu, adieu, adieu for you and you. Goodbye.
Oh no.
Goodbye.